Let's say I really wanted to have sex with dogs. They're just animals, and I love having sex with dogs. Is that okay because the enjoyment I get, outweighs their suffering?
I think yes, I would say that's okay. I guess I don't have any pets right now, but I have in the past, and we loved them and treated them like members of the family.
But why did you do that? Because you think that animals should be tortured if humans want to do it. Why did you treat them like a member of the family? What's up, everybody? Natalie here with Colin, and I'm with Allied Scholars for Animal Protection, and we're at UT Austin, and we had a sign that says you can't love animals and eat them too. Changed my mind. Colin very kindly sat down next to me to have a little discussion, so I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a perfectly reasonable thing to love animals, but then to still be able to eat some of them because... how would I put it? I would say that animals I would put at a lower moral consideration than people.
Okay. So you kind of had two things there, like putting them at a lower moral consideration and saying that you can love them and eat them too. So which one would you rather talk about?
I think probably the moral consideration argument would be better because I agree that if they're at the same level as like humans in terms of moral consideration, it would be completely off the table.
To eat them, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
And the thing about vegans is they kind of, vary in the amount. Like some people think that animals and humans are equal. Some people think that humans are still a bit higher. But the crux of the issue it's not humans versus animals, right? Because we don't need to eat animals to survive and thrive. So it becomes more about human taste, pleasure, convenience, culture over animals' lives. So how far should we take moral consideration to animals, do you think?
That's a good question. Well, I think that for me personally, it would definitely be that the value gained from eating and enjoying meat, I would put above the suffering of the animals.
Okay. So you would put the taste pleasure you get above the whole process of what happens to animals?
Yes, I think I would.
Okay. Do you know much about animal farming, kind of what it entails for the animals' experience?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of videos and it's definitely not pretty.
It's not pretty?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about it is in order to make that argument, first of all, these animals are alive for 1 to 2 years, or chickens less. They're killed basically when they're 42 days old because they grow so fast. That's a lot of suffering to say that 15 minutes of pleasure overrides that. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, it makes sense. I would just disagree with not I guess the amount of suffering, because certainly it is a lot of animals, but just the importance of it, I don't put very high.
Sure. So the argument you're making is that sensory pleasure justifies violence toward victims. Is there any other circumstance where you would use that argument?
Not against any people, no.
Okay. What about let's say I really wanted to have sex with dogs. They're just animals, and I love having sex with dogs. Is that okay because the enjoyment I get, outweighs their suffering?
I mean, that would be a little, personally, I would be a little repulsed by that, but I think, yes, I would say that's okay.
Okay. Just to clarify, you think bestiality is okay?
Well, not socially okay, but in terms of the harm to the animal, that's not my biggest concern.
So in your eyes, can any human do pretty much whatever they want to animals if they get enjoyment out of it?
To some extent, I would say that specifically domestic animal abuse is probably not okay, not so much for the animal, but because the only people who do that are probably going to be psychopaths. There's something wrong with them.
So you are pretty much only concerned with humans. So what's the morally relevant difference between humans and animals that justifies, torturing, abusing, bestializing, I don't know the word for that, animals, but not humans? What's that difference there?
For me, it would definitely have to be the intelligence, the sapience. Yeah, we can't really compare the consciousness as well.
Sure. Okay, so let's take intelligence. Let's say I found a human who had the same intelligence as a pig. Could I therefore eat that human?
No.
But you said the factor was intelligence. So now we have to take intelligence off the table. So then what is it?
Well, I would disagree that you could find someone who was as intelligent as a pig.
So pigs are actually as intelligent as 3-year-old children, it's been proven. So I could just find a mentally challenged human that has the intelligence of a pig. That's definitely possible. So could I eat them or no?
Well, I suppose you could find someone like that, but the fundamental structure of the consciousness, I think, would be what separates it.
Let's say their consciousness was the same as the pig.
well, then they would be a fake, right?
No. Well, okay, I think we're kind of getting into somewhere that's not necessarily quantifiable. The thing I want to drive home is that animals are sentient. You know, like I said, pigs are as smart as 3-year-old children. They're intelligent. Chickens can recognize faces. So, like, that difference in intelligence, I guess I don't see why that should give us the right to torture them just because we want to.
Well, I suppose I worded it wrong. It was more the conscious experience is really hard to compare. I would say between all human, like the most different human is going to be much more similar than the most similar animal.
Yeah, it all kind of sounds a bit arbitrary to me because we agree that animals are sentient and they are conscious, right?
Yeah, to an extent, yes.
Yeah. Are humans animals?
Yes. Well, biologically, yes.
What do you think we're like so superior to animals that we can do what we want to them?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I would say I agree with that.
Yeah. Have you heard of the term speciesism? It's kind of a weird term.
Yeah, I would say I'm a human supremacist.
Human supremacist.
That would be okay.
Okay. So, like, I just kind of want to make this argument in terms of, like, you know, we can look throughout history and we can see certain groups of other people that have felt like they are a supremacist for some unquantifiable reason. You know, like white people are like, oh, I'm so much better than black people, or men like, oh, I'm so much better than women. Women don't even deserve moral consideration. And the arguments that they used sound really similar to me to the arguments you're using right now. This kind of like, oh, I'm more conscious than them, but you can't necessarily prove it because animals are proven to be conscious as well. They have emotions, they have feelings. If you spend any time around animals, I'm sure you can attest to that. So do you think it's a good idea to kind of use that oppressor logic?
Personally, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Really?
I mean, of course, when applied to other humans, that's a big problem for me.
Just because other humans are like more conscious in your eyes? Or is there something else there?
Well, there's a little bit of social contract theory in there, but mostly like the consciousness.
Right, but even if
Full of experience. Like, for example, if there was like a burning building and I could save like one person or like, 10 billion dogs or something, I would pick the human every single time.
and I mean, that's certainly not a situation we're in right now. Like, if you're choosing a plant-based burger versus a burger, it's not like you have to, the choice is between humans and animals. It's the choice between animals and no one. But you would still choose animals because you just don't think they have any moral value.
Yeah, I would essentially, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're sitting down, you're saying bestiality is okay, I don't think we're going to get anywhere close to veganism. But I do appreciate your time. Did you have any other questions for me, or?
No, I think we got through most of the things I wanted to discuss.
Yeah, I would love for you to kind of expand your empathy toward animals, because I get a sense that, like, maybe you haven't spent time around them, or I guess I've never met someone who's quite as human supremacist as you are, so it's interesting.
To be clear, well, I guess I don't have any pets right now, but I have in the past, and we loved them and treated them like members of the family.
But why did you do that? Because you think that animals should be tortured if humans want to do it? Why did you treat them like a member of the family?
Well, I think it would just be because it's enjoyable for us. Like, they provide emotional support to humans, and that would be...
So it has nothing to do with it, being enjoyable for them or them having a good life?
No, I would say no.
All right. Well, I hope that one day you maybe change your mind on this, because, like I said, I think it's the same logic that oppressors have used throughout history, and I think that it is bad, and I hope that one day you can consider animals morally. But I do appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for talking with me.
If you enjoyed this and want to help me do activism full-time while getting exclusive content, join my Patreon today. Special thanks to my morally superior patrons, Amy and Andy.